Relax. This is a relax I have in it.
Hold on, hold
I
on,
don't
hold
want
on. First
nobody
of
get
all, Doc,
mistaken.
you need a little bit more hair to get something
Yes.
Listen,
resembling
anything
at
is
least that.
possible.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Anything is
I think
possible.
again. I think again. I think again.
Yeah, just need like 1 more inch and you're good.
All right.
It's too early on his Monday. I will comment on that.
But I'm giving some really sound advice that the hairstylist would say too.
Yeah, man.
1 more inch and
And
we're good.
he needed 1 more inch.
Anyways. Good morning, SVG. The time is now 8:08 and heartbreaks. Welcome to Activated Mornings right here on WEFM 99.9 in studio this morning, the 30th day of October 2023, penultimate day of the month. We're almost in November. We're almost in Christmas. The WhatsApp number is 4579997. The number to call 4579997. In studio, we've got Ari, Dr. Thompson, and yours truly, Christal, to take you up until 10 o'clock this morning, talking about quite a number of things. The first stop we're going to make, and this might take up quite some time. We're going to try to touch on as many as possible. The 16 goodies, 16 things from independence. So let's go down the line. 1, 2, 3.
All right.
Right?
Number
First
one.
one.
As of January 2024, the salary threshold below which no personal income tax is charged will be increased from the current $22,000 annually to $25,000 annually. Workers will pay less taxes as from January 2024. This will cost the Treasury nearly $5 million annually. Number two.
So do you wanna respond to that?
No, that's big. That's a big jump.
22 to 25,000,
Yes. I remember
$3,000.
it was creeping up, going from 14 to 50. It was going up by a series of 1,000, 2,000, and so. Well, this is significant. 25,000. Still a lot of people are working for less than that. So essentially, not paying any taxes at all. That's important. That leaves a lot. I leave some money in some people's pockets.
Yeah. I feel like this is a general.
How much money though?
Yeah, I feel like this is a general income rate or the average income rate for most Vincentians right now. So the $25,000 annually is, I think, is a good step in the right direction.
2,083 and 33 cents a month. And you're moving from what is
I'm
it?
pretty
22,
sure it was 16 or 1700.
1833.
It was 18. Oh,
1833.
Okay.
So you get about $200 more. Well, they are playing around with $200 more per se.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. But for that $200, how much extra cash is going into the person's or staying within the person's hands? One.
You see, the way it's looked at, each individual has that ability to determine what they will do with it. It's theirs. And so whether they pay a bill or they make a savings or whatever the case may be, but the impact of that being spent and the circulation and what it would do cumulatively for everybody, right? It has an impact. So the government say that this will $5 million loss. I mean, that 5 million has to be made somewhere else. You know what I mean? In order to keep education, health, and so forth going. So that's why they always add the implication, the financial implication of this is that. But for each individual, it is now them. If they decide to buy 3 for 10s with all of it, or if they decide to put it to good use, it's always, the master give out his 3 talents. And the people will then determine really how to utilize and hope they utilize it well.
Hopefully, and then they don't mismanage and get excited and still end up or might end up in debt or more debt than before because, I get a little extra cash. Let me go a little bit berserk on my spending. Do you think, I can't say based on any figures, but you mentioned it and I'm quite curious. We have a lot of expenses, right? things to purchase, roads to fix, and maintaining the country financially. And this is going to be a dip into the pool. But what is going to fill back that void?
It's about policy, because persons at the lower end of a scale, they have that struggle, and the focus is less on government having less revenue, but on people having more revenue. And the question is, how much would it be? But collectively, persons at the lower end of the scale are going to be relieved of a little bit more burden that puts a little more stress on them, as opposed to someone else who's making triple figures, whatever the case might be, who this will not affect to any great degree. You know what I mean? And I think it's a policy issue. It's a policy impact that shifting things one way or the other.
Okay. So let's move on to the next one.
The government places employees at its own expense in the private sector for fixed time periods will be extended with and 2025, subject, of course, to the usual annual reviews of any program's efficacy. That is set on yes program, right?
All right, it's interesting.
Cool. Number 3, as of January 2024, there will be an increase in minimum wages paid to workers consequent upon the full review of the report from the Wages Council, which is currently in progress.
Ooh, this one I find piqued my interest because, obviously people have been asking for a little bit of increase here and there, and some folks are being paid the minimum wage, right? And some people actually not even getting paid overtime, but that's a different discussion for a different day. I am looking forward to see what it's going to within the respective industries, especially the skills here.
Industry. We're not too far as we overlook. We see Camden Park. We see a number of different sectors. And over the years, they have complained that the cost of doing business, wages, is a significant part of it. And that if sales are going right, if there's a pandemic or global recession and not getting sales, therefore, they may have to then cut back on staff, lay off workers, and so on. On the other hand, people, the workers, I mean, I know this government sees itself as more being a labor government instead. Workers and so on would love to see good salaries that are able to maintain lives. And so balancing those two things, what the private sector would like to see and would thrive on and employ people, and on the other hand, people who are working. And it's always a challenge shifting one way or the other. You may be a belief man, bump up those salaries, but then what happens is that some workers then get laid off. The private sector scales back a little bit because they can't meet that wage bill. On the other hand, if you favor too much of the private sector, then the workers suffer. So the Wages Council, I'm impressed how many wages councils have been done over the years, over the last 20 plus years, monitoring this and coming up with something fairly, working with the unions as well. And so, and I would love to see salaries really bump up, but at the same time, one has to have that balance. So as workers do well and the private sector does well.
But if people's salaries do not meet their needs, their basic needs, and basic needs have increased over the years, if their salaries don't meet their basic needs, isn't that an issue for the employer because they are not able to find people to work? For example, if I'm working in Kingstown, I'm living in Georgetown. Yeah. What sense does it make I spend $12 a day for transportation and then have to buy food? If I'm going to town for minimum wage, it doesn't make any sense, does it? So, I mean, your compensation should reflect the cost of living at the time, and the people who are supposed to be employed should assess whether or not it makes financial sense to either sit down home and do nothing or to get up and go and possibly end up in debt.
Yes.
So
I want to agree with you. That's the main thing. And then as I pointed out, on the other hand, the business owner determines, should I continue being in business or should I close down? Is it worth being in business? Am I able to make a profit? Is it sustainable in terms of what's happening globally, nationally, and so forth, and things like that? And so it's a matter of putting these two factors together, the values of the individual workers and that of the private sector of and so forth, and trying to find a balance. It's difficult to pitch this out because most people will belong to one end of that spectrum. But it's a matter of finding that middle ground in terms of things.
would the sorry, I don't know where to get dry cough from, but would the wages council have access to like businesses profits and so on to say, okay, you guys could afford it?
You know, it isn't that they're dealing with one company, and there are some companies that are doing exceptionally well, and there are some companies that are on the brink. If you notice stores, you see a store one day, and another week you may not see it again because they've gone belly up. On the other hand, there are other businesses that are expanding and so forth. So they take a collective thing. They would work with the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. They would do work, and they're able to have a package of some of the bigger businesses that Camden Park, ECGC, this, that. They've done this before. There are formulas of doing it. They're advised. They have consultants and so forth, and usually come up with a good, solid job of doing it. I'm waiting. I'm going to wait and see to see.
Yeah, to see what it goes to. Yeah. But I am for the increase. I think mentally it will have a positive impact on some people's lives and livelihoods. So the other things will fix themselves, I hope.
Well, the next point is also wage related. As of January 2024, all nurses, nursing assistants, and nursing aides will be paid in addition to a regular salary increase, which is already on the cards. They will be paid an additional monthly supplementary non-taxable income for an additional 6-month period amounting to 5% of their salary to ease certain specific challenges which they currently face. We will conduct a review in this period, the first half of next year, with the aim to upgrade and reclassify these positions in the nursing profession. It is my intention, this is quoted from the Prime Minister, of course, it is my intention, it is the government's intention to big up the nurses in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Oh, dear. Now, let me take a call. Let's take a call, sorry. Hello, good morning. Okay, there's an echo. Could you move away from the... Sorry, you got to call back. I'm very sorry. I can't, maybe move away from the radio or the television or wherever you're getting the signal from, and then you can call back. No, nurses. Good stuff. Good stuff. I see some teachers crying because they ain't getting nothing this time. But is this an incentive to try to keep the nurses within the profession?
Is it within the profession or within the country?
Within the country, sorry, yeah. To keep nurses here because we've had too many nurses leaving.
Well, we've always had a policy of letting eagles soar with their wings unclipped, in the sense that they've often trained 100 nurses at one time, almost every year, something a little more, something a little less. And the system can't absorb. So there are nurses in Barbados, in Trinidad, in Turks and Caicos, in Canada, in Wales, in Ireland. The nurses have left service and gone all over the place. But on some occasion, recruiting campaigns where shortage of nurses, Vincentian nurses are considered to be the best. I can tell you as a medical doctor, Vincentian nurses are damn good, well trained. Now, There was a recent science and technology conference lamenting about people not getting into science technology. And I had to make the point. In the case of healthcare, nurses, there's been a rush to get into that area. And that's been a success story from science and technology point of view. I'm only bringing that up in that, getting into nursing has been something that St. Vincent is known for throughout the Caribbean. Yes, Anne? And we got to keep it so. And I think that incentive and so forth is really an important one, especially coming out of the pandemic and trying to, what Ari was saying, make sure that we don't experience shortages ourselves. So with the coming of the new hospital at Annisville, the acute care hospital, there's going to be a need for a lot more nurses to stay here.
I'll take a call. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good
Much better.
morning. Good morning. These are the kind of programs I love to listen to, especially when you have somebody like Dr. Gerald Thompson, pro-government. Now, if I say what I have to say, I am going to be the biggest enemy of the state, right, Dr. Thompson? Because I do not concur with some or all of what you have to say. And here's where I think our Vincentian people need to pay attention to. When we hear all these fantastic, wonderful speeches coming from those who control or who are the administrators of our country. I'm Dave Roberts, and I make, I love to call my name because I know we don't like to hear certain people when they have to say what they have to say because we may take a different view. And this is a problem I have with my people because the more educated you are supposed to be able to dwell with each other in peace and harmony. But that does not happen here. If I hold a different view to government, I am seen as a bandit or whatever choice words we love to use. I welcome, I think I listened to the Prime Minister's address. But my biggest concern is to see how things play out. Because grand speeches could always be made. Grand speeches promising the moon and the stars, and when all is said and done, everything falls down. 5 years ago, which is our election, the period before we hold elections and all of that, promises are made and they're never fulfilled. Right? So I know I may be a lone voice in the wilderness, but I don't mind. All they could do is kill me, suffocate me for how I look at things. Right? But I welcome. We live in a democracy, and I welcome any positive move that is made to make life better for Vincentians. But with the political divide, and nobody can doubt me with that, we have in this country, if you doubt that, you doubt John 3:16. If you doubt that, you doubt John 3:16. There are many examples I can quote how people are being victimized and have to pay the price for supporting the wrong party in this country. Anyhow, as I said, every Vincentian, every Tutmun Bagay should be able to live in this country in peace and harmony. But that is a dream. Some people say, boy, you're dreaming. They will say you're dreaming. Because I've been around a while. I'm not a scholar. But I know when I speak, I get the support from people who are seeing what is reality in this country. But how many of us have seen that? That's the big question. But as long as I can say what I have to say, and I mean, it will not please and satisfy everybody. I am flesh and blood. I sometimes I contemplate I should come out on the street like a vagrant or maybe something of the sort, and then I may get some attention, right? That's because sometimes when you hear some of these grandiose announcements and just using people, I think some of us get rich. We exploit the weaknesses of other people to get rich. And but like I said, I want to end by saying, I hope with all these grand speeches and who are supporting them and backing them up, they will live up to them and we will see the benefits. Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you so much. Take care.
Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time to comment on that. I don't know if you have a response to.
No, I think the important thing is democracy reigns. He was able to say what he had to say uninterrupted and express himself. But one thing, these presentations done every single year, and people say, "We'll put your pot on the fire." Almost 100% of them are usually implemented. Yes, sir? When they say there's going to be free barrels at the end of the year, there's usually free barrels at the end of the year. When they say wages are going to go up this and so forth, wages go up. When they do that, I think these announcements, these 16 things every year, this isn't the first time. This is not the first rodeo. Not the first time this speech is done. No. Every single year, next year there'll be another set of speeches. It indicates, based on the budget process, which will come up for debate in Parliament, what are the features, some of the features that are going to take place. And usually, Dave, 100% of them are implemented. It ain't no grandiose stuff. I mean, what's grandiose about minimum wage going up? You want that. Christal and Sophie is in favor of it. I'm in favor of it. Harry's in favor of it. Ain't grandiose at all.
Are you in favor?
Yeah. Grandiose. I can tell Harry is a
we had to meet the standard of living.
Yeah.
The cost of living, sorry.
You mentioned more than likely 100% success rate for the things that are announced. Well, yeah, much better than our manifestos.
Oh my God.
Manifestos. I tell you something.
Some of them we're still waiting on.
Oh yeah. But I've always looked at manifestos like I have a manifesto for my life. I did one up a number of years ago, and I tell you the truth, I've not been able to accomplish a lot of the things I have wanted to do. Ari, I don't know if you have a manifesto, concept plan for the rest of your life and whether you will achieve all
for your life. You have to be the only person who you have to be accountable for is you.
Exactly.
In a political manifesto is the entire country.
Yes, but hear what? I believe that the glass half full, glass half empty. It's the things that you say you're going to do that are done that we often ignore for the things you say you want to do, and for some other reason they're not done. We say, aha! Those things are not done, so therefore that's it.
Yeah.
But it's the things that are done.
Mm-hmm.
And I look out, I see that port going, the port going, and the airport, people laugh.
We can deal with it too. We can deal with it too at the same time, can't we?
Yeah, it's true.
All right.
We can deal with it too. And to have them on equal basis, right?
Equal basis too.
Yes.
Oh, we break here and come back and discuss it some more. I have some things. I have some opinions to add. Some skin in the game, but yeah. Let's pay some bills and we